finally, after weeks and weeks of being unable to stream some creepypasta, I'm gonna walk around my house as we choose our story. I'm actually hoping to eat a little bit while I'm reading, because I am one hungry mofo. Or what we can do is just simply stream here in the dark, just you and me, and all of the little creeps under the bed. Anyways, hold on, I need a drink, because I'm like uber thirsty. Oh man, give me a moment. There's Starbucks, more Starbucks, some beer. This. More Starbucks! Oh boy! Such a wide variety. Whatever, screw it. I'll grab the water bottle in my room, and then we can begin our live stream. I was trying to read a story the last time that I was streaming, and I don't think I got to finish it because the creepypasta kicked me out. So, here we go. I'm gonna see if I can find it. Think it was... Hold on. I think it's something to do with demon. Oh, true demon, I think. Alright. I'm gonna finally finish this. Bear with me. True demon. It was just kneeling there. It hadn't moved for minutes, hours. I wasn't even sure how long I'd been watching this thing. A shivering mass of flesh and hair, its head bowed into its knees. Slowly, so slowly, you hardly noticed anything at all, the head of the creature began to rise. I wanted to run. My entire being was drenched in sweat as the being looked straight at me. Its defiant, unblinking eyes stared into mine. Its mouth began to open. Slowly, slowly, like the creature was using every fiber of its being to say something. I didn't wait. This time I turned, sprinting out of the door I entered from. I ran down a mass of identical corridors, each wall the same, a single window letting seldom light through, until I finally reached an open door. I collapsed into the corner, dropping to my knees and letting my head drop. I began to cry. I couldn't help myself. It was hopeless. I heard the lightning-fast sprinting coming down the same hallways that I've traversed many moments before. The demon was chasing after me, and soon enough it would be here. Soon enough. The footsteps stopped. I opened my eyes wide, hands and body shivering, to see a shrouded figure standing in the doorway. I opened my mouth to scream, but my muscles were aching all over. This man could help me fight off the creature. He might know what was going on. It took forever to unhinge my jaw, and just as I was about to speak, the figure turned and left. I was alone to fight the demon. And it was then that I understood. This was no creature. I was being chased down by the only true demon that plagued me. Myself. Whoa, that one was deep. What do you guys think of that one? Go back! Okay. Let's see. Let's read Goatman. Because goats. Alright. You say you love Native American legends? Have you ever heard of Goatman? No? Then please allow me to enlighten you. I heard the legend when a power outage in our reservation made us decide to have a fire. As we all know, nothing goes better with a good fire than a good story. And that was where I learned about Goatman. The legend goes that they shapeshift. They love human forms most of all, which is what makes them so dangerous. It's thought that if you find a bone of one or take a photograph and keep it in your house, it will wait. For what, you ask? The answer is, they wait for you to leave. Once you leave, they ransack the place until they find what you took from them. There was even an incident I heard that night, where some men met the Goatman face to face. It was a night like one I was experiencing. Some men had decided to have a fire in the desert and told some stories around it. Then a stranger walked out of the desert and took a seat, never speaking a word. No one really got a good look at the stranger. One man brought up the legend of the Goatman, causing the stranger to listen a little more closely. At the end, the other men nervously laughed, the stranger still silent. The men decided to go back to their homes and put out the fire. They didn't have enough room for the stranger and figured he could hitchhike back to town. They had just left when they saw something chasing after their truck. After they sped up, the pursuing thing sped up as well. When it reached the truck, it flipped over and dragged the three men off into the night. What happened to them, you ask? Well, they were never found. Be careful of the goat man. They can shapeshift. Didn't I tell you? That homeless man begging for change could be one. Or your boss, teacher, or even your friends. It looks like Pan the Horn God wielding a scythe. That's weird. Oh well. Tell me I'll be alright. The little girl looks through her window. She calls, Mommy, Daddy, come quick, Kitty is here. Her parents rushed in the room. Who's Kitty? The girl pointed out the window. Honey, there's nothing there. Now go to bed. Okay, Mommy. She fell asleep, but soon woke up to scratching on her window. Again she called, Mommy, Daddy, come quick, Kitty wants in. Once more her parents came in. Kitty's your imagination, now please go to sleep. She nodded her head and fell asleep, but again woke up to her window being open. She called nervously, Mommy? Father? Kitty's beside me in my bed staring at me. Her parents came in one last time. Child, that damn cat is your imagination. Now go to sleep. She fell asleep, shaking. Something was staring at her and she knew it. She turned around and screamed. Her parents came in and gasped, Megan! There on the wall were the words. You should have believed her. Kitty had a nice time. He's better than the rest. But the fun never ends when Kitty is near. But they all run and scream in fear. Kitty had fun, and he's coming for you next. That was actually kind of cool. I want to read the SCP and Holder stories, but I'm kind of like trying to finish. Fucking advertisements. I want to get the advertisements removed, but I don't feel like paying for apps. Seriously. All right. Crossover. Oh man, this is going to be a doozy. Dreams are real. They always have been and always will be. What we dream actually happens through sheer force of will and thought. The human mind reaches out and creates a world akin to ours with all our hopes and fears crammed in, dominated by our most recent experiences. Based on what we last saw, our dream can be the living embodiment of what we yearn the most, or our most abhorred nightmares. It may be a safe haven or a hellish land of blight. Imagine yourself in front of a large sheet of cloth that you can't cross, keeping you from which you crave the most, and dreams sharp shards of glass, reflecting with their multiple facets, you and what you are, flying in toward the sheet of cloth. They may strike with the sheet and make a portal for you to enter your nirvana and receive what you covet, but it'll just as easily strike you, knocking you down and maiming you. Whatever happens, as you wake up, the dream and that alternate reality will be erased, slowly and painfully. You know that dream where everything starts to fall apart and you start seeing the twilight around you? Everything else shrinking and being consumed in the tide of darkness as you run for your life, hoping not to get caught? That's you. As you made yourself in that reality, witnessing what you have created being washed away and forgotten. You usually don't remember this part, though. It can be so frightening that the brain decides against storing it in memories. So, that's it? We dream and create new worlds that get erased, and without any consequences? The shards that you, or the shards that aren't deleted. The shards remain, abate the reformation. They stay there, and you sometimes feel them, experience them. They're usually harmless. Usually. Sometimes, in rare occasions, they find gaps in your consciousness, in your mind, in your thought, in your being, and they exploit these flaws, finding ways of getting out that alternative reality and into our world. our universe. It's usually the most malevolent creatures that find the loopholes, that try so hard to squeeze out, that succeed in breaking the minds of their creators. They get out. And they do what they were meant to do in their home world. They terrorize. They destroy. They kill. They disrupt. I didn't really get that one. Shocking about dreams, yeah, but... Let's see. Time to remember. A single mother afflicted with short-term memory loss. Okay, as a single mother afflicted with the short-term memory loss, life was pretty tough. What with having to juggle and take care of my son Jerry and having to remember to take my medicine on time. At the age of 15, Jerry was offered a football scholarship to study in overseas university. One that he had so desperately wanted since he was young. It was tough letting him go, and he promised he would Skype me daily for a chat. Waiting for a Skype became a daily highlight for my life. I would literally sit in front of the laptop for hours in anticipation of him. Finally, around 3 p.m., I heard the all-familiar ding of the Skype notification. "Hey, Mom!" Jerry's face popped up onto my screen. He didn't look too happy, which was weird. He should have been having the time of his life right now. "Hello, dear. Why the long face?" I smiled at my screen. "I don't know. I'm not feeling too well right now," he sighed and clutched his head in his arms. "Been having the most awful headache for the entire day." "Oh, did you take any medicine?" "Oh, honey, if your headache gets really bad, you ought to see a doctor. Is there a doctor on campus? Do you have his number? You can give him a quick call, see if he'll make room for a visit." Worried, I unleashed a torrent of questions and quickly surveyed the anguished figure of Jerry. "Are you running a fever? Is your roommate with you?" "Mom." "Jerry, call up your roommate. Get him to come back. What if you collapse and there's no one around?" "Mom." "Did you take your pills?" Jerry glanced up at the screen, a sad look crossing his face. "Jerry, honestly, shouldn't we be more worried about your head? Where's your medicine?" "Mom, you have to take your pills. Don't you remember?" Jerry sighed and smiled sadly. "Don't you remember, Mom?" Positively confused, I blinked at him. "What?" "Don't you remember, Mom? I'm dead." "What? Don't say that, Jerry." Shocked, I frowned at Jerry and shook my head fiercely. "Don't ever say that. You have to take your pills. You have to remember." Jerry was pleading now as I stared at him. A trickle of blood rolled down from under the fringe. Paralyzed by both fear and shock, I watched in horror as Jerry's eyes slowly rolled to the back of his head and a trickle of blood slowly became a steady flow. "Remember, Mom." He gasped in pain before slumping out of his seat. "Jerry!" I screamed and jumped out of my seat, sending my laptop crashing to the floor. Yelling wildly for Jerry, I picked up my laptop, only to realize that the screen was pitch black. My laptop wasn't even switched on. I was in a full-scale panic mode by now, screaming and yelling in my living room when I tripped over a pile of newspapers. Sobbing furiously, I kicked the newspapers when one of the articles caught my eye. Rubbing my tears away, I grabbed the article. "Boy found dead in world-class university," the headline said, with a large colorless picture of my Jerry. My poor Jerry laying in a large puddle of blood on the stairs with his head cracked open. The article was dated 3 years ago. Sobbing, I tossed the article aside and climbed to my feet. I have to take my pills. I have to remember. I have to. As I staggered to the medicine cabinet, I glanced up to the clock and sighed in relief. My face was cracked into a grin and I turned back to my laptop. It was a little over 3 p.m. Jerry should be calling soon. Oh, that wasn't scary. That was just sad. God. All right. How many times? Oh, wow. We've only been here 14 minutes? That's crazy. My broadcasts of these are normally 30 minutes long. Ow, ow, ow. I have to scratch my back. It's itchy. All right. Something creepy. Top secret key number 4513. This is just something weird I'm basing off a dream. I didn't consider myself open to these sorts of things up until this happened. And I thought the video for Man in the Box was creepier than most movies. And I wasn't scared of the strange or paranormal. I didn't believe in ghosts, but I thought they were harmless. God, this person has shitty grammar. My girlfriend was more of the fraidy cat. She didn't like scary things at all, but we agreed to rent this old house upstate, even further away than when we left the city for school and a cheaper cost of living. The plan was she would get a transfer from her current store to one in the... I told Twitter not to fucking give me notifications. One in the mall about 45. I wouldn't need to work. Clear weather and traffic, no problems unloading the van. After I got settled and was tired from unpacking, I brought a box of stuff to the master bedroom and laid it down, so it didn't take long to fall asleep. I laid it down. Oh my god, this person has such shitty grammar. And laid down. It didn't take long to fall asleep. I'm not sure how much time had passed when I woke up, but it was really dark and warm out. This could have been my first mistake. I got up to check the window was open all the way. Without paying much attention to what was in the backyard, I jerked the window open a couple of inches. It still wouldn't budge anymore. Oh my god, this person's grammar is so bad that I just want to quit reading this. At that point, I glanced into the yard. It was empty and mostly dark, except for bright moonlight and a glow from the trees from my neighbor's house. Could have sworn I saw what looked like a really gaunt horse by the edge of the yard, right before the woods started, as my eyes moved to the left. Oh my god, this person needs to use punctuation. I could just make out a man standing next to it. Neither were moving, and there was not a sound to be heard. I reached down to put my glasses on. Then the whole yard became much clearer. I wasn't expecting to see them, but there they were. A figure and his horse. I looked directly out at them, and now I began to become nervous. This horse was almost skeletal, and the man next to it seemed to be, idiot, staring into the window. I'm sorry, but seriously, when somebody's grammar is this bad, it makes it very hard to read. I couldn't see much, but I could tell it was looking at me. Then it began to walk rather slowly backwards into the woods. His horse did the same. This was probably my second mistake. I called out the window, "Hey!" But before I could say who's there, oh my god, he was gone. I just want to throw my phone right now. This person's grammar is just so stupid. I hate it. I closed the window and pulled out a hunting knife out of the drawer from under the windowsill and thought I was getting the rifle and going down there. Wow. I will be damned if I'm going to be robbed by an asshole with a horse to get away on. As soon as I turned around, I dropped the knife and felt unreasonable fear come over me. It was in my house, in my room, him and his horse, both of them staring me down with vacant, cold eyes. I vaguely remember hitting the ground when I woke up the next morning. I searched the whole house with my rifle and didn't find a thing. I never told my girlfriend and nothing's ever happened since, but I can't sleep much at night anymore. I guess we're moving again soon. Okay, this person's grammar, they need to totally go through this one and edit it and a few of the other stories, because when a story has really, really shitty grammar and spelling, it makes it very, very hard to read. Really hard. I have never struggled so much to read something in my life. And I have eyesight problems, and that's saying something. All right. I'm beginning to get a migraine again, so I'm going to have to stop the live stream here. I'm really sorry. I wanted to go on longer, but right now I'm not feeling well. So leave a like and favorite if you want, and subscribe. I really hope that you enjoyed the creepypasta stories that we read this evening. And if you want, make suggestions. What creepypasta stories should we do next? This is all of the ones that I've read so far, all the ones that are marked with red. So if you have any suggestions as what I should read next, you can tell me in the comments below, and I will see you in the next broadcast. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. Toodaloo!